Hey guys, it's been like 7 months since I've made a video, but I've been really busy. I'm a junior in high school. It was a sophomore when I made that video. I did MICA pre-college. I'm in a magnet program. I did multiple theater productions and CalArts Extended Studies. So it's just been a lot of stuff, one on top of the other, which has made it really hard for me to make things. So I'm back now, and I'm gonna be going through the sketchbook I made directly after the tour in the previous video. This one is from, doesn't say, it's from sophomore year. I finished it in, we'll see. I think I finished it in about 4 months, but I can't be sure. It's not a good quality sketchbook, so I'm not even gonna say the brand. It's like straight up a little thicker than printer paper, but it's not that great. So this is my 29th sketchbook. And this is a drawing of me, and we're just gonna get into it, okay? So first off, I had a couple pages that I had to tape together over here because it just started falling apart. The book has no, yeah. Cool. Sorry, my camera, my tripod is so bad. The book has no spine anymore. It's falling apart. It has these little creases where you can tear the pages. So there's a lot happening and not a lot that's like good quality. So my first page here, I always open with an intro page, is supposed to be, you know, a drawing of me, and it's like an introduction. And I got bored of this because I've done 29 of them now. So I decided to draw a picture of every sketchbook I've ever done. I'm not gonna read all of this, it's super long, but I can point out the key ones. This was my first sketchbook, I made it in 4th grade. This was the sketchbook that got me into my art magnet program. This was the sketchbook I did a tour of in the previous video. And then these two are the ones I was doing when I made this one. This is the pink one we're looking at right now because I made this page before I drew the cover. And this was my 29th. I started out with some really quick gesture drawings. I used line of action. I don't love these. I think this one's really bad and this one's really bad. But I like this one a lot. And I like the line of motion on this one. Which, I'm going to keep this the same, but there is going to be a lot of artistic nudity in this. Just be aware. This was just some sketches of my character Enoch when he was a kid, and this would be his mom. My light just died. I use these as my lights, but they always have the lowest battery ever, so it's not that dark. We can still see, right? Yeah. I always like making these faces just to start off a sketchbook. These are with the Artex acrylic markers. I always sketch out in pencil, draw a big base layer. So for this one, the whole thing I filled in with green, and then I go over top of it with colors, and I like how the undertone looks. I really like these two. This one is from reference up here, but none of the others are. These were just some thumbnails for an animation to Disembodied Mind by Sparkbird. And you can see there's my notes here. I used to add notes to my sketchbooks by cutting up a Ziploc bag and using paint marker over it, and I still love how that looks. I never made this animation. It just came off as kind of boring to me, so I didn't do it. This was just, I was feeling really uncreative, so I decided to just like make a little collage and then do a little color sketch of it because I had an assignment to make a landscape, and I did like a very specific underpainting to do it, and I hated it, so I was just messing with colors. And then I drew this on a napkin in a restaurant. I drew this in AP Gov because I was really bored. I don't know what this is. I don't know what it is. But I do know that I went over this like 3 times with that red acrylic marker, and it's totally out of ink now. But it's okay. I got a 5, so it doesn't matter. This was a little comic I made of my goat Enoch and my other goat John. I never finished it. I do like how I blocked in the text. I did this with, the border here with the black is just a graphic micron, and then the actual detail inking, so here and then that, is done with a dip pen, and then the base pink layer is an Artex acrylic marker. I love dip pen, but it just really catches on this paper. You can see here how thick the lines are in comparison to, like, the fresh dip pen, so I just couldn't get behind it. And then this was, just a doodle I did of Enoch from my chemistry class because I had some extra space. I wanted to tape it in. I saw a production of 12th Night, and I really liked it, so I decided to draw some of the costumes really quick since it's a no photography theater. I just needed to remember what they looked like, and these are really not good drawings, but I just really wanted to remember those costumes. Trying to read the paper I wrote here. This was just, I was sketching some faces and they were all talking, and I was like, what if I added some text and it's them discussing how they're all blue, and then it's like, yeah. This was just a doodle I did of someone sitting in front of me, and I think this was English class. And then, yeah, this was my substitute teacher for AP Gov, and these were people on their phones in Gov, because we have no phone policy in my state, but when there are substitutes, everyone is on their phone. These were sketches for my AP Art portfolio. That was, well, now it's this year. I'm a junior, I'm doing AP Art, but when I was a sophomore, I was supposed to already start planning and sketching. I haven't actually made any of these yet, so maybe I'm really behind, but that's okay. And my concept was, I have all the text here on my Ziploc bag situation, is I'm supposed to be trying to explore like society's view of innocence through teeth, and I do really like that idea. So I think I might make a few of these pieces, but I did kind of change my concept, and I'm just making my comic book at this point. These were some more just like 30-second warm-ups I did at the beginning of class. I do like these. I know they're not super great and fun to look at, but I'm a huge fan of doing like gesture warm-ups. I have a whole sketchbook just filled with these. I did in like a week. Much smaller than this, was like 60 pages, but still. And we're on page 25 right now, so it's not like this is a big sketchbook. These were some more I did. I was having difficulty drawing fluid bodies for a while, so I decided I needed some practice. This is literally just me saying I think I forgot how to draw people. So I just wanted to get more comfortable with it. Drew some of these. Some of these are referenced, some of these are not. And the ones that aren't referenced, I think I like memorized references to use. Like this one, I can visualize the Pinterest image, but I know I drew this one without a reference. These, none of them were with reference, which I think was nice. I like warming up. This one's real bad, but the other ones I really like. I like this one, I like that one, and these couple are really good to me. These were the swatches of things I carry around with me every day in my pencil case. Now I have a ton more, but I also feel like I use less colors in my current sketchbook. And then this was when I was testing my 3mm chisel tip micron. I ended up not loving it, but it's fine. And this yellow paper is really cute. I got briefly kind of into the SCP Foundation. So I made my SCP OC, and I truly don't care what anyone says, like, Mary Sue OCs are the most fun ever. So here he is. He's 7615-B. There was a reason why I named him that, like that was his thing. But I don't know if that's taken or not. This is what he looks like. He's pretty much just a guy for most of it. And this was some of his lore. This was a comic I made really quickly about Enoch. I was originally trying to make a comic about him, and he's like working at a fish factory, but he's kind of like has a psychic situation going on, and I love this page. I love how I drew him here. But I ended up kind of ditching this comic temporarily because I love the vibes and I love the visuals for it, but I didn't think the plot was strong enough. But I'll come back to it for sure. I don't know what this is, but it's taped together. Oh, I listened to Ethel Cain for the first time. This was on June 4th, and I was drawing it. So all of these are referenced from different images. So this was a dog, and I just drew the mouth, and this was like a church chapel situation and a lamb. And I use these really bright colors, and I love these colors, but I don't think it fits the vibe. So I listened to Preacher's Daughter, and it says, sweet morning lamb, there's nothing you can do, it's already been done. And then on this little like sandwich bag paper, I wrote my opinions on it. I actually saw her live. That was really cool. Some more. These were 60-second. These were 30-second. I think these are really good. I think they're fun. I like how it looks like some of them interacting. Like these two look like they're fighting each other, and these two look like they're like looking at the same thing. And then I colored in the wrong area, so I wrote, oops. This was, I drew this little cat head and I was like, what do I do now? So I just drew a whole suit body and I wrote, he's going to work. So I decided to draw a bunch of animals and how I would imagine they would live. It's kind of like a BoJack Horseman vibe. So this is my McDonald's Spaniel, my secretary bird secretary, my weasel stoner, and like a fluffy pigeon opera singer, I think. Then this was in my chemistry class and I hated that class. I did it with a burning passion. My first semester, I had a great teacher. And then my second semester, I had this guy who just didn't know how to teach at all. And it's like, honors chemistry isn't like a hard class, but when you have a teacher not doing anything, it's so hard to even think. So I ended up just drawing people in my class and then drawing his room and his desk. And he has a ton of stuff on the board, but the only thing I drew was the MIT flag that he has, which, God, of course he does. I hate him. I saw this pin on Pinterest, which was like layering pink, like a pinkish color and a bluish color, and I had just gotten 2 markers. So I decided to mess around with it, and then in the background, I wrote the lyrics to Sweetest Chill by Susie Sue and the Banshees. And then here I drew overlays where the red, or like the maroony color, is sitting poses, and the blue is lying down poses, but you really can't tell. I saw images online of people doing this super cool overlapping, but it just doesn't work when I do it, I guess. Or these markers, I guess, are too dark. I was really bored. This was right when summer started, I'd venture to say. Let me check what day this is. Okay, I try to write dates, but I kind of forget to a lot of the time, so. No, this one must have been still in school, but near the end of it. Yeah. And I was so bored that I found like elementary school art assignments and I started drawing out sketches of what I would do. I never ended up making this besides this one, but I do think this is really cute. It was meant to be like, you were meant to draw 9 pictures, and it was like, draw your hand, favorite book or poem, favorite music or song, favorite artist. If you could visit anywhere, where would you visit? Draw your eye, draw your pet, something you collect, and a food you enjoy. And it's a really basic thing. So I decided to make little tiny prints. So it's my hand. It's not my favorite poem, but I did Two-Headed Calf. Then for music, what did I even say? Oh, yeah. I said The Garden by the Crane Wives. Then favorite artist, I did Muha. For the visit, I did Ireland. My eye, my cat, my clown collection. And for food, I did, like, shumai. Oh, God, I love shumai. Yeah, but I didn't make them. I started making one of those cute pages where you fill it up with fruit stickers, but I super overestimated how much fruit sticker I would have. So a lot of these are just my fruit that I was eating, except my mom keeps getting Chiquita bananas, and I have to keep trying to stop her because they're like straight up evil, but I still put it on here. This was just some doodles I did in class. I actually hated this page for the longest time, but now I don't even mind. And this was the first ever drawing I did for my comic that's coming out, Holler. Wow, he looks so ridiculously different. That slick back hair does not suit him. That weird, that is not his vibe. And then I glued the other page, which is why this is happening. Then I started the 100 Heads Challenge, and I didn't finish it, but I got pretty far. So this was the first day, and I started it on June 10th of 2025. So I didn't use the official 100 Heads Pinterest board that guy made because it has a lot of not real people on it. And I love exaggerated proportions, so I thought it would be more interesting to take real people and exaggerate them. So that's what I ended up doing. I found the photos myself. I don't love this page, mostly because I know that they look completely nothing like the original photos. I think this one I did very well on, if I'm remembering correctly, but none of the other ones have the same energy as the originals. This was my second day. No, this is my first day because I didn't fit all 10 onto every page, so it's kind of out of order. I don't love any of these for being accurate to the original, but I do love this face. And I think this did help me a lot with drawing faces, even though I didn't realize it at the time. So there's going to be a lot of faces going forward. I enjoyed this one a lot. This page, I was watching someone else's 100 Heads, and they did this really beautiful spread where it was like an arc. And I tried my hand at like an arc like that, but I don't love how the art turned out. I do really like this page. I drew it with a gray micron, and then I went over it in a yellow marker, and I think it gave it this really pretty, like, I just really love how the colors turned out. Just some more 30-second gesture drawings. I was feeling really uninspired this day, and that's what I do when I'm uninspired. I like this one. And I'm pointing out on every page which one I like the most, really, just because I don't appreciate what I make a lot of the time. So I think it's kind of good for me to do that. This was day 5 of my 100 heads. I drew a bunch. I had to make up some more because I missed some, and then I just drew some teeth because I wanted to. And my AP portfolio was coming up. More of them. I really like this one. I was going into very quick doodles of these heads just because I got so tired of it. I went to a book reading by a bunch of different authors, and I decided to do really quick drawings of everybody. These aren't very good, but I like this one. I drew this at the poetry reading. I couldn't explain this to you if I tried. This was another day on my 100 heads. I went to a little cafe, ordered myself some tea. It's June 21st. Yeah. I like this one a lot. This was the first actual drawing I did for my comic. I really enjoy this page. This is the final design I ended up going with for how he looked. Nothing on this page. This page didn't stick. Sorry, this just makes me really happy because this was like such a minor drawing for me. I was just like, I'm bored, I want to draw something, and then it turned into like a whole project for me. I got really bored. That's it. I drew a bunch of drawings of myself being bored. And then I drew a square cat? Sorry, my cat's screaming. Oh my goodness. I drew a square because I was art blocked and I wanted to draw me interacting with the square. Some horpsies, and then I drew Enoch and John again because I missed them. Even though I wasn't making their comic, I missed them. I ended up making his head, Enoch's head, really small and weird looking in this picture. Yikes. Yeah, these were my other next drawings of Nick. Just some action shots, stuff that he keeps in his bag. So it's whiskey, because he sells it, a little pocket knife, horse brush, a letter, an engagement ring, a bunch of bandages, a lighter, pen and ink, a notebook, a flask, and bullets, but no gun. Then this little patch is over this, like this piece of paper, because I wanted him to be wearing an 1890s women's riding coat, but I didn't Google reference, so I just drew with, I hate it, and he looks like he's like waiting to go to the bath. Oh, this whole drawing of him is so bad, but it's fine. And then Nick doesn't talk, really. He talks every once in a while, and originally I was going to do little symbol bubbles, and then I was like, no, I can just use facial expressions. Can you tell I played mouth washing? Two more of my 100 heads, and then just drew some of my hands. I always draw hands when I get bored. This was my other character in the comic, one of his original sketches. Bonus points if you can tell what image I referenced this from. Oh, we'll get there. I visited SCAD and I hated it, but I still had the paper and I wanted to use it. So I drew Nick again. He's cleaning off a rifle. Drew him as a little guy. Drew some other content of the other character who I was really struggling with because I didn't want him to give cowboy. And then I drew him having a little kiss, and it says, if you're flipping through this, sorry you had to see this. I don't, yeah. I went to a restaurant. Okay, this is really cool to me, if I still have it in here. Oh, no, I don't. I do. I went to a restaurant, and they had this really cool menu where it has this, and looking through it hides parts of the menu, like, in it with the colors. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, and I wanted to try it. Then I drew some dance, like fluid practices. I saw a lot of people online drawing this and saying it really helped them, so I wanted to give it a try. This one turned out really bad, but I did a lot more, and they turned out better. I like this one. This was 10 seconds per still frame, and then I went through afterwards and colored it. I like it up to this point, and then here's where it kind of got bad. These were my swatches with my art markers, because I got accepted to the Mica pre-college program. Yay! And I wanted to figure out what I wanted to bring. Then I tried oil pastel. I used to really love oil pastel, but I ended up hating it this time. I just totally forgot how to use it, and that's okay. These were some of the practices for my channel, actually, and what I wanted it to look like. Yeah. I want to be a shrimp. I was a little confused. This is a page I love. It's a motion study. It's done with a green glitter pen, and it was of Swan Lake. No, Sugar Plum Fairy. So this was the first 30-ish seconds of the dance. Character from my comic Holler. I'm a big fan of this. Just some real quick sketches with a fluorescent highlighter and some ink wash. Big fan. I taped this in. I didn't make this. Nick from Holler, and then I just needed to figure out how to draw some feet. So I drew feet. I was drawing shoes for a piece, and I figured out I had no clue how the feet worked, so I was like, I need to figure this out. Then I got really bored, so I drew some really blind contour drawings, and I was stressing out. So I wrote a thing about how stressed out I was. And I drew this. This is really cute to me. It's ballpoint pen that I water down, and this is me at my desk working. This was at midnight. I drew this, and I really liked this. I still really like this, and I drew these little guys. And I said, what if we were fish in a little sea and everyone was swimming after a little eye in their fishy? Oh, and then I drew that. I didn't draw this, but I colored over it. Some really quick 30-second ones. I hated this page so much I almost glued it together. David Bowie. Some apples, and I was drawing a character from a mini comic I made. It was 26 pages. It's in the previous sketchbook. I have a video of it on this channel still. And I drew it in kind of this very JoJo's style with 3.3 millimeter. I like this page a lot. These were just some quick motion doodles I did. Same with here. I drew real poses I referenced and then gave them new outfits. And I'm a big fan of them. This was, this is Buffy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then I tried this really cool text type I saw online, and it says, I think I was born bored, which is from Claw Machine by Sloppy Jane. And then, what would Buffy do? Because what would Buffy do? I drew some mouths, and then I was like, this is a really boring page, and I don't want to draw mouths forever, so I drew the background from a scene in one of my favorite video games, Slime Rancher, and then drew the quote at the end of Slime Rancher, which says, sometimes you gotta choose one path or the other, and there's no way around it, but you know what? Either path you choose is gonna make you hurt some for want of walking the other. And I love Slime Rancher. And then I drew little Smithkeys. I didn't mean to draw Smithkeys. It was completely unintentional. This was right after Date Everything. This was right after Date Everything came out, and I liked Doug a lot. So I just wanted to draw little guys. And then someone was like, "Oh, you like Smithkeys?" And I was like, "I don't even know what that is." This is the view outside of my grandma's apartment. And then I drew some little guys. This was when I was going over what I was going to bring to Micah, and it's a lot. This was what I was packing for Micah. And then this was the Micah cafeteria and a little face I drew, and then I was like, okay, I've run out of room. So that's the whole sketchbook. This took me, let me check, because I think it's important. This was the 29th of June, so it took me from May to June. So May, June. That means I finished this in maybe like a month. That's crazy. I do not draw like that anymore. That's so fast if I'm doing that right. Wow. Well, that's it.